put this in the front of my videos. What you need to do right now, if you like what you see, if you like what you're watching right here on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, whether on Viral Hip Hop News Uncensored, the Uncensored Podcast official channel, you need to hit that link in the description box right now.
Yeah.
Get your ass to the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all major online outlets exclusively with the Digital Soapbox Network. We drop content, like Oga said, 4 to 5 days a week. We're coming at you non-stop. The promotion train has begun.
Yeah.
We're about to take this shit over. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. But you're tuned into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with your brother God and Sam. And if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or the Digital Soapbox Network, go ahead and don't hesitate to give us a 5-star rating if you like the content that you're listening to. We're going to jump over to this next story, SamAnt. Now, somebody else who was recognized at the BET Awards was your brother Tyler Perry. You know, I think it was a Lifetime Achievement Award or something of the sort that he was recognized with at the BET, and deservingly so. Mm-hmm. But he had a part in there where I'll quote him, where he said that putting on a dress was just a means to get to what Tyler Perry has. Now, we know Tyler Perry, you know, his Medea series, which they said grossed over $2 billion, all the series combined. He's built studios there in Atlanta, took it back to the hood, you know, has employed thousands of people. But that was a part that stuck out. And I think I was thinking it, but you actually said it. He was like, yo, we got to talk about this on a podcast, where Tyler Perry came up and talked at the awards and spoke about, you know, him, you know, pretty much turning nothing into something. But the dress part, him being Medea, taking on the persona of his grandmother or his mother, wearing the dress, that being so successful, he's saying that's the means to an end. Now, we want to talk about this and get the opinion of the people that's going to watch this in the comment section. But I wanted to ask you about this, SamAnt. What do you think about Tyler Perry's statement saying that wearing a dress, being Medea, was just a means to get to where he is now?
This was wow. First off, watching it live and listening to it, it was just like, it almost makes you not want to give criticism to a man that just done so much, has taken it. And I've heard stories about him living in his car originally, to taking it to having his compound in Georgia. And like he said, it was on the grounds of Confederacy. Slaves used to work there, and now it's owned by one Negro, as it was owned by many white slave owners. Very powerful in what he said. But as a man, I just can't help but to look at it. And I'm not, the criticism that I have to give, or the question that I would love to ask Mr. Tyler Perry, as great as he is in a journey through doing this, did you, while gaining this independence and gaining this power, take away from the black image, the black male image in particular? At what cost? I would have to ask him. I would have to give him that cross-examine, because as great as it was, we have to talk about black image in particular in Hollywood. Now, I was listening to old Paul Mooney excerpts and radio things. I was just in my bag today listening to him. And one thing that he said in particular, a white person in Hollywood could play Jason, Michael Myers. They could play the killer. They could play this. They'll be perceived as Jason, Michael Myers, this and that. When you see a black person on Hollywood screens and you see a gangster, that's what you think on the street. When you see a drug addict, that's what you think on the street.
That's a fact.
So when we see this powerful black man in Hollywood putting on this dress and acting like a woman, what does it show? And what is the overall perception of the black male image? $2 billion he's grossed. How many eyes, not only black eyes, but white eyes and Mexican eyes and Chinese eyes, Spanish eyes, have watched this and perceived a black male image during a time where it seemed popular? I mean, we had Big Mama's House, we had Medea, we had this, we had that. They were flooding us with this shit. I would just ask him at what cost. And I would wish that someone like a BET or somewhere in mainstream media, we would just ask that question.
Right.
It deserves to be asked. Not taking anything away from this man.
Because you got to put him on a scale and say, and he was throwing around, you know, that, you know, and it's dope. I think he said that, you know, the Lord prepare for a plate in front of his enemies. But you also got to look at the scripture that says, what shall profit a man if he shall gain the whole world but lose his soul? Now, I'm not saying that Tyler Perry lost his soul, but we do have to look at is how did this affect the children? And not just now, the catalog of movies, how is it going to affect mainly our children in the future is the main thing. Now, it's great. You're providing jobs. You built a studio. That's 100% great thing. We can never take that away from you as a black man doing that.
Won't do it.
Won't do it. We refuse to do it. And that's why it was kind of hard for us to even to have this dialogue. But a lot of people won't do this. We're going to do this here on this podcast, though. I just think the question still remains, like, this means something where every strong black male image, damn near everyone, has to at some point emasculate himself, put on a dress, put on a wig, put on boobs, and act like the opposite sex. There has to be something said about that. We can't just keep sweeping this under the rug and next person, who's going to be next? You know what I mean? You got everybody you got that's supposed to be a man taking care of his family, a provider, a leader, should not have to go to those measures. Now, my thing will be, we're not telling you how to create, but what about the other things that could have been done to create that empire? Maybe that was just his way to put on a dress, but the millions of ideas that go through somebody's head about what you can do to create movies and do this. My question would be, why a dress? And how were you so comfortable doing this for all these years? And how do you think this is right? And Mr. Push, because he was also talking about how he grew up and he seen his mother would take him to all these ladies who didn't have a barely a high school education, and how they were so smart, and they would see him, you know, wearing the different things and acting like emulating them, and they would think it was cute. But it's like, when a real man's in the house, you reprimand your son for trying to put on the high heels, for trying to put on a wig. You like, no, son, yeah, it may be funny here and there, but no, this is not what men do. You're not going to see your father put on a dress, put on boobies, and act like your mother. It's a line that we're not going to cross. We're not going to emasculate ourselves for an amount of money. And I was having a conversation, you know, with my trainer or whatever, and I was showing her the Will Smith, you know, one that we did, and I showed her just the thumbnail that I did and what she thought. She's like, well, if somebody gave you $1 million, you know what I mean? You just getting into the putting the dress on, and it's not a problem. I think that it is. For any amount of money, because I'll be like, well, hold on, can't I just do something else? I could put on a clown suit. I could do this. I could do this. This could be funny. Why do I got to put on a goddamn dress to be funny? I'm not accepting that.
You talked about there being a male influence in the household, and where was the man to check? And he talked about in that speech as well, his father coming in and beating the hell out of his mom, and him having to provide comfort by talking shit like he used to listen to the women talk and just provide laughter, which automatically just goes to a point where, okay, maybe there wasn't a positive black male image or something. We would love to ask Mr. Perry there as well, because like we were talking about as we were walking and from the show and just talking and vibing and doing our thing, something we did a hell of a lot of. It was great to do out there in LA, as we joked about, is we had plenty of women we lived around, and me or you could sit back and imitate our grandma, aunt, you know what? Yeah. Mom here. Oh, yeah. This, imitate all of them. We lived around them. We seen them. We sitting there breaking down crabs, fucking cooking greens, talking shit right in that kitchen.
Talk about it.
We could do it, but that don't mean we are.
Nope.
Now, would the series be as successful, oh God, if he got a powerful black woman to go in there and destroy that role? Because we're not saying he couldn't construct a blueprint. He could sit there and piece together his mom, his aunts, his this, and sit back into the pre-production and go, yo, this is how I want this done, and act it out to her and give her the image, and then have her go ahead and slay the fucking role. Would it be as successful if it was just a prominent black woman in there?
It may be. We never would know.
If it was promoted with the plays and living around how it was with plays, and then it built, why wouldn't it?
Right.
And she went in there, sang her ass off.
And I don't think that's the success is solely because he's a man playing a woman. It could just be a woman playing a woman.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and be just as funny. So yeah, I mean, again, a lot of guys don't want to talk about this because they're scared. They don't, but we're putting our real feelings out. And if we would have tried that, to be honest, my dad would have kicked my ass if he would have saw me. You know what I mean? And I won't want to do that anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's just, we can have that conversation. And I think, and again, no knock to Tyler, like that. He acquired his wealth. And here's another thing, what I wanted to say, you got a lot of people who've done some, what may be, seen as immoral. You got guys who, like Jay-Z, or other people, Diddy, all these guys who said they sold drugs coming up, but they changed. And, Medea's not going to be here forever. But, I just think that there's a few things that have to be put on the table here. And I don't know if we can ever measure the effect that it's going to have on young black, children coming up. I don't know if any, but I think that it will.
This is where we're going to get raw real quick. And I'm looking at the time right now. So
Yes,
we've
sir.
done our due diligence for YouTube. So y'all enjoy. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, you want to hear some more of this section, this is where you get your ass on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and go subscribe. This is about to get real with this Tyler Perry conversation. Oh, God, let me ask you this.